The Australian Grand Prix delivered an action-packed qualifying session, sparking numerous talking points. From the unexpected Q1 exits of Lawson and Antonelli to McLaren's dominant front-row lockout and Ferrari's underwhelming Q3 run, the stage is set for a thrilling showdown under Melbourne's rainy skies. But what exactly led to Ferrari's struggles in qualifying? And aside from McLaren, who gained the most from this session? Australia continues to deliver surprises, with Williams achieving a remarkable feat. Both of their drivers reached Q3 here for the first time in a decade. This only adds to the anticipation for tomorrow's race. However, the session wasn't without its share of setbacks, with multiple teams facing unexpected hurdles. Antonelli and Lawson particularly stood out for the wrong reasons. The Mercedes driver went wide at turn 4, sustaining damage to his floor, which significantly impacted his lap times. Despite making a final push, he fell short of securing the last Q2 spot, with irony striking as rookie Borto eliminated him. Not only did Borto outperform his teammate Hülkenberg, but he also outpaced Lawson, defying the dismissive label of a B-class driver once given to him by Helmut Marko. His performance sent a powerful message amid the fierce competition of the grid. Among the biggest disappointments was Liam Lawson. His struggles throughout the practice sessions foreshadowed his underwhelming qualifying result. Missing FP3 was a setback, but expectations were still high for him to reach at least Q3. Given the increasing pressure on his seat, especially with Tsunoda excelling and qualifying P5, Lawson needed a strong performance. His poor showing only fuels speculation about his future with Red Bull. Addressing his qualifying woes, the Kiwi driver admitted, "We expected a difficult start to qualifying. The first laps were meant to be slow as we built into the session, but my off on the second lap disrupted our entire plan. The final lap felt strong, but I lost time in the last sector. Missing FP3 didn't help, but I shouldn't have made mistakes in qualifying. Before turn 9, we were half a second up, but then I had another snap at turns 9 and 10. The tires were already degrading, something we've struggled with all weekend. Missing that final practice session meant we didn't get the chance to properly address it. This poor start to the season puts Lawson in an unenviable position. With enormous pressure to prove himself, he was expected to be much closer to Verstappen's pace. The Dutchman secured a second-row start despite a significant gap to McLaren, while Lawson's early elimination left him vulnerable to further scrutiny. Now, rumors swirl about him being replaced by Tsunoda, who qualified just 2 positions behind Verstappen, exactly where Red Bull's second driver should be. The car's difficulty in handling has been acknowledged by both drivers, yet the first qualifying session suggests that Lawson might be heading down a similar path as Perez. He still has time to prove otherwise, but the challenge is clear. Ferrari also faced a disappointing Q3 performance, securing only P7 and P8. Their only hope lies in the fact that the car was tuned for wet conditions, which are expected to play a significant role in tomorrow's race. However, even under these circumstances, optimism remains low. Their starting positions place them in a dangerous midfield pack, where any chaos could either benefit them immensely or spell disaster. Stuck among several aggressive drivers, they are at risk of losing further ground when the lights go out. Lewis Hamilton, reflecting on his first qualifying session with Ferrari, acknowledged the difficulty of adapting to his new machinery. Speaking about the experience, the 7-time world champion stated, "I felt good out there, honestly. Everything this weekend has been a new experience. My first P1 with Ferrari, my first qualifying session with them. This car is completely different from anything I've driven before, and adjusting to it has been a challenge. I didn't expect us to be this far off the front runners, but we have a lot to analyze. Tomorrow will be tough. I haven't driven this car in the rain before and still need to go over the wet weather settings tonight. Qualifying 8th is never ideal, but if it rains, I hope we can capitalize on the conditions." The only silver lining for Ferrari is that the gap between Hamilton and Leclerc wasn't massive during qualifying. At one point, Hamilton was just a 1/10 of a second behind his teammate. Still, there is significant work to be done. Leclerc himself painted a grim picture of the team's Saturday struggles, calling it one of their worst qualifying performances. "Since this morning, our pace hasn't been the same as yesterday. I have an idea of what went wrong, but we need to dig into the data. We had to make some compromises for the weekend, which cost us some performance. I won't go into details, but 7th and 8th is disappointing. I wouldn't have expected this result, even in my worst-case scenario, he admitted. Amidst Ferrari's struggles, Williams emerged as a surprise contender. Alongside McLaren, they were the only other team to place both cars in Q3. This is a huge achievement for a team that turned heads during pre-season testing in Bahrain and backed it up with solid free practice performances in Australia. Their progress appears genuine, and they could realistically challenge Aston Martin for 5th place in the constructors' standings, an incredible step up from last season's target of P6. With a reshaped team culture under new leadership, Williams is proving to be more than just an underdog. Albon's P6 starting position gives them a real chance to score big, especially with the expected wet conditions playing to their advantage. Sargent, starting P10, will also have an opportunity to capitalize on the chaotic midfield battle. Verstappen, meanwhile, continues to impress despite having a car that isn't the outright fastest on the grid. In certain conditions, it's arguably not even the second fastest. Yet, he still secured a strong qualifying result, proving his ability to extract the most from any situation. With McLaren locking out the front row, the Dutchman faces an uphill battle, but the rain could become his biggest ally. Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko even admitted, the Verstappen factor is going to be crucial tomorrow. If he can navigate the conditions masterfully, he might just pull off a surprise victory against McLaren's superior pace. Speaking of McLaren, they have set the tone for what could be an exciting season ahead. Their front-row dominance suggests they have the strongest package right now, but how their two drivers manage the competition remains to be seen. Piastri, in particular, is eager to prove himself as the team's future leader. He showed flashes of brilliance last season, and now, with a fresh start, expectations are high. Tomorrow's race could mirror the drama of the 2024 Monza GP, where strategy and execution made all the difference. With all of this in mind, what are your thoughts on the first qualifying session of the season? And most importantly, who do you think will triumph in tomorrow's race, where the rain promises to shake things up significantly? Share your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the next video appearing on your screen right now.